It is 7:48 on Saturday, December 21st. And it's time for us to open up Black Sheep and Bad Apples. I'm going to thank Fourth Corner Productions first and foremost. I got my buddy Shawn here in the studio.
Chippertaroo.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? Being the only two people that showed up tonight.
Yeah, if you listen closely, you can hear the cars driving by in the distance.
Yeah.
And that's abnormal for this production studio.
Yeah, you're never going to hear that in any production that comes out of the studio. It's kind of a strange experience, honestly.
Actually, it's probably one of the hardest things I deal with in this studio is the soundproofing.
I noticed. You told me about you were doing some world translation recordings and you had to record it. You pulled your truck here into the garage that is the studio and then insulated the truck itself
Yeah,
and then recorded from in there.
Yeah, that was a fun time. I think it was fun watching the client that came over understand that I was putting them inside a Toyota to record the pieces for the
Which,
the
as we all know,
translation.
Toyota's the classic. It was the sound booth that the Beatles recorded in.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if you know that, but that's what the Beatles recorded in.
hmm.
So speaking of weird things, Shawn, I'm seeing a lady.
Oh,
Yeah,
weird.
it's weird. I like it. I don't like it.
Wasn't it on the end of a commercial? Having a girlfriend.
Yeah, it definitely was. Awkward things or something like that. No, we're not officially like exclusive, but it's just a weird thing. I haven't been dating for like I don't know a couple of years now, and
Dating's good. I think it's healthy. You know,
it
it's
is.
unless you're married, then it's probably not healthy at all. And you
Yeah,
should
that.
probably refrain from dating. But
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the polyamory versus non-monogamy
mm,
and monogamy and
ooh,
stuff like that,
yeah,
and so like yeah, dating unless you have explicit instructions and well, not actually not instructions unless you've had the detailed conversation that it takes to open up a relationship, guys. We're gonna go ahead and say just just don't just don't.
mm,
It's gonna fuck up your marriage. But yeah, I'm not getting married. Like we're not exclusive either. Like so it's just a weird thing. Like I haven't been.
haven't been in the dating scene for a little bit, huh?
Yeah, and like
I feel like that always tests the brain a little bit. You know, it's you get back out there, you have to self-evaluate. You start looking at yourself in the mirror a little differently. You know, kind of that self-awareness. You're like, wait, who am I? What's
yeah,
going on? Why is this? Why? How is this? All those things.
yeah. Well, exactly. It's like okay, so this is a good thing, but why do I not like it? And so but this like I want it and there's like this weird like stuttering that constantly
Mm,
occurs with this mentality in regards to my experience, and that like I don't like dating because I don't like being vulnerable, but I want to date a person because I want to be vulnerable.
yeah, I
And so
think
then I have to be vulnerable, and that makes me feel great.
vulnerable.
Well, yeah, it makes me feel vulnerable. But that's like a thing that I enjoy feeling. But then I hate it because I'm enjoying feeling it. Like I'm just like, oh no, like maybe this person knows too much about me. They're gonna like start to understand me, and then like, oh god damn it.
I think that's the rush we find in quite a few things, though. So let's take skateboarding for instance. When I was younger, I liked to skate. I still do, but when I was younger, I skated a lot more. And when you look at an obstacle, let's say a really tall set of stairs that's bigger than you've ever jumped, there's a risk factor. But that makes you. But what if you land it? But what if you don't?
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's that, so there's that rush you get, which I think we
It,
find in a lot of things, even a relationship, especially getting to know somebody new, is that rush that you get by, ooh, did I say too much? Did I not say enough? Did I
mhm. Or did I fucking
yeah,
yes
or
land
did I
it?
land it, or did
Yeah,
I you know break my ankle type of deal.
excuse me.
So,
Yeah, so it's been a weird thing. She's a really understanding person, and she I don't know if she understands, but she allows me to have my own like neuroses, my own like weird ways of dealing with things because again, it's such a foreign experience now getting back into it that like there was one day we were texting each other and I accidentally pushed the wrong button and it started calling her and then I panicked and hung up and then she started calling me back and I panicked even more and hung up. And then I texted her. I was like, I'm really high and I don't know how to deal with life right now. I'm a piece of shit. Leave me alone. I don't know what to do about it. And she was like, all right, just take the time you need. Let me know when you feel like you're ready to talk again. And it was brilliant because it wasn't like a passive aggressive like, oh, the ball's in your court. It was like yeah, we all got shit to deal with. And it sounds like you're going through something right now and so text me when you're ready to go again. And so I texted her the next morning and I was like, wow, that was weird. I'm sorry about being such a weird, stone, fucking neurotic kind of human being. And she was like, I get it. That's fine. And I don't like it. I don't like that.
hmm.
She got me. She was okay with it. She was just like, yeah, we're all fucking weird. Like that's fine if you got little things that you're dealing with. Like what kind of a human being is fucking understandable towards other human beings, Shawn?
um, we'll let the we'll let the silence answer.
So you quit smoking recently?
Oh dear. Yes.
How long's it been?
Some days, some days, some
Is it gonna bother you if I light up a cigarette right now?
days. No, no.
Good.
See, that's what
Yeah, because
I'm
I'm gonna do it.
challenging myself with, and it's been nice. I actually feel quite a few benefits.
So what's your yeah? What are the benefits that you feel? We'll talk about that first.
The lungs. The
Yeah,
lungs are definitely breathing
you were
better.
talking about walking up the stairs
Yeah.
earlier.
Oh, a whole bunch of different things. I feel like I want to play with a dog all day now instead of being wore out, like
You're
it's
like, I'm gonna get a dog.
yeah,
I quit
just so
smoking,
I can
so
run in
I'm getting
circles
a
and throw the
dog.
ball and then chase the dog to the ball and like be like, "No, I got it first."
You're gonna catch the frisbee before the
Yeah,
dog
exactly.
does.
Oh yeah, just to piss it off,
Oh hell yeah!
That's
You're gonna be the worst dog owner in
uh,
America. So
but a lot of different other things, social so like actually sitting at the bar and like not worrying about continuing a conversation outside so you can have a cigarette
yeah,
or something like that, it just kind
like
of it.
overcoming your cravings.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, or well, I feel like have you ever gone to a concert that was really long and in the middle of it you were like, man, I really want to have a smoke now.
Oh
So
yeah,
then
yeah.
you have to leave the concert
Hmm.
and you may or may not miss like a ton of different stuff that's
And
just like
I don't know if you've
bummer,
had the same experience as I have, but every time I go out for a smoke during a concert, there's always like the weirdest people in the smoking area.
Yeah, well,
Like when we went
it's
to
like who
we
pays for a concert to smoke outside,
yeah, like we went to
you know?
Gogo Bordello a couple years ago, you and I and a big old group, and I remember having the same experience that you're describing, going out and smoking a cigarette out in the smoking area. I remember walking out there, and I swear to God, there was like three people back there that looked like they were on heroin. They
Oh,
were just
for
like
sure.
falling
Yeah.
asleep, like lit cigarette in their hand, like pointed up towards their mouths, but they were like falling asleep against the cigarette. It was just a really weird experience. So
Yeah, not saying I haven't had a lot of great experiences out in the smoking area as well.
yeah, yeah,
And all the different whatever things you could attribute to benefits of smoking. But
that. So would you say there's social benefits to smoking?
socially, it depends on who you want to talk to, and sometimes that icebreaker is a cigarette, and I kind of get that experience a little bit. But I also think being able to take that in mind and utilize that knowledge a different way or whatever, it's really doesn't matter what the icebreaker is.
Yeah.
You can make that happen regardless and stuff. And I don't know,
Yeah.
just a change up in life too. I feel like flipping over a new stone and just seeing where it goes.
Yeah, because you're getting old now. What are you, like 43, 76, something like that?
Yeah, 43 if you're dyslexic.
Oh, okay. So you're 43.
Yeah.
So what's been your method for stopping smoking?
Well, I've been using the patch to kind of curve the craves,
Yeah.
but timidly, not hardcore, not habitually, just a little bit here and there. And then
So you've been, what do you mean by timidly? Like you've been using the patch and
as
like
as they say,
you'll
there's
puff on a smoke?
no, like I mean, the patch timidly is like they have a regiment that if you follow the directions, it's stick to it, and this
Oh,
will,
I see.
you'll wean yourself off. But it's kind of like wear it for a little bit, and when you have a craving, don't. There's not like I let it go longer than what it says you're supposed to
Mm,
use the regimen on and stuff. Instead of changing it every day, I'm letting it go hours after,
yeah.
and just wait until I have a craving or something. But then a lot of just little things. The marijuana helps out quite a bit
Hell yeah.
and stuff. So
Yeah, we've been getting lit as shit while we were talking
yeah,
about the podcast.
I can't argue that. Little fixation, but really just um, a lot of mental. It's like that. It's always that, like what they say. A lot of it's that mental game that you got to play and
Mm,
stuff. And so you really start to see the balance in your habitual habits that you have from smoking, and not from the addiction of the nicotine, but more
yeah.
just the addiction of. Sometimes I get tired of just sitting in a room, so I want to go outside, and outside means a cigarette to me.
Yeah.
But now I'm recognizing that, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, I know the feeling because you described it earlier. You were saying that sometimes a cigarette is a good cue for you to like step away from an awkward conversation with somebody you don't want to
Yeah,
talk to.
yeah. They're like,
In
"Hey,
my
you want to have a
case,
smoke? Like,
yeah,
let's get out of here."
in my case, it's a yeah. You can do it as like a, hey, baby girl. Like if you're macking on somebody, you want to go outside and have a cigarette with me. For me, like a lot of social anxiety, like that's what I use cigarettes for, is like a segue into like a different
Actually,
way of doing things. Where if like I'm really nervous because I'm talking to somebody who's really like intimidating for whatever reason that is. I'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna go have a smoke. Excuse me, and I'll fuck off and go have a cigarette. Which in our town, going to open mic, your option to smoke a cigarette is going out back onto the back porch where more people are,
hmm.
and that's also uncomfortable. So I'll go outside and like be halfway through a cigarette and be like, also very cold, but then I'll use that as an excuse to go back inside, and then I've got no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Because now I'm back inside around more people and just like, what am I doing? I feel like Ron in his like high pitched
See,
tones.
I feel like besides the health problem that is the obvious problem of smoking, uh, the second worst problem, I guess, to that, out of everything, is probably my interaction with women and how I've lost opportunity to get to know somebody better or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Like be talking to a girl and she's all about it, and then I break away to have a smoke, and that's the end of the conversation.
yep,
Like that's lost. We're not gonna talk, and we're not gonna go on a date. We're
yeah. Because you go
and
back into
so
the
many
stool that you were
times,
sitting on before you left, and some
yeah,
other guys already,
and
or
for a
maybe
single
chick.
guy, a
We
single
ain't judging here.
bachelor, like trying to talk to ladies and do some dating and do all that type of
Yeah.
stuff. I feel like the one thing that's cock blocked me the most, if you will, has been cigarettes, and I'm kind of getting
Done getting cock blocked.
yeah, I'm tired of the cigarettes cock blocking me, so figured I'd give it a new direction and see how that works.
And so, how's your game with the ladies changed since then?
I mean, definitely, I'm having a lot longer conversations with them.
Hell yeah.
It's definitely on the up and up.
It's on the up and up. So you got like a harem yet? You got like fouty bitches?
No, no. I mean,
Oh, you're not
I'm not
collecting.
trying to hustle like that. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not collecting. I'm not just getting a plethora
I
of.
like how you didn't say anything about me saying the word collecting. You were just like, no, I'm not collecting them. Like they're Pokemon or something like that. Excuse me.
No, but being able to have a nice, good, long conversation with
Yeah.
somebody, especially randomly. You go to the bar, you meet somebody, you're sitting down, then you talk for a while. Well, if you leave that conversation and you go outside, and that's pretty much, it's not about the actual say. It's like you just excuse yourself away for no good reason,
You
if
need
that
that
makes sense.
reprieve. Like for me, it's a social battery where it's like I can like I feel like I'm gonna fuck up this conversation between you and me, like any moment now because we're treading into. Oh, I gotta go have a cigarette. Excuse me, and then I'll fucking leave.
Yeah, yeah.
Because for me, it's always a social. A part of it is at least a social anxiety part where it's like I want you to like me, but I don't want to. I don't want to wade into a conflict oriented situation
So,
where we disagree on something and we have to find mitigation. Like I want to be friends before we can get onto that because I don't want to lose your heart because we disagree on a topic. Because the thing that I've learned is that like my best friends I disagree with the most strongly, and the thing that makes us good friends is that like I people are pieces of shit. Like we've all got fallacies, and we're all just we're sometimes we're awful people, and the ability to look beyond that and see a friend, somebody who's going to support you, I think is a really important thing. And so like even disagreeing with your friends, I think is a healthy thing as long as it's a healthy interaction because it doesn't mean that you guys don't have to dislike each other. I've got friends whose qualities that I don't like, but when you love people, that kind of aspect comes with the entire person.
mm,
And so sometimes you just have to kind of be okay with things you dislike about your friends. And
yeah,
so
totally.
I think those kind of conversations are really enjoyable as long as we're friends beforehand because if we're having them as just straight up strangers, there's no like love between us. We're just this is our first impression. We're deciding whether we like each other or not. And no, like if you're part of my family, for the most part, you're a part of my family, and we don't have to see eye to eye about everything. And I think that's an important quality that maybe more people overstep than we think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. What beer are you drinking tonight?
Ooh. I got this new.
Come on,
It's
can
called
you read?
Modern Times by Orderville. I actually thought it
By
said
what?
Orderville.
Orderville.
Yeah,
Oh,
I thought it was Orville at first, and I was
yeah.
like, "Yo, Lauren, look, it's made where you're hanging out
No,
when you were
gee.
younger times."
For
But
the
it
record,
says,
I've never hung out in Orville.
Modern Times employee-owned beer, hazy mosaic IPA.
Fascinating.
The one thing I did turn, and I have some, it's, issues with just how this works. But then I turned the can. I was looking at the whole can, kind of. I was trying to find the alcohol.
By the way, it's a white can, a purely white can with like a little bit of brown font, and then like Modern Times is written in cursive, and he somehow got a problem with it.
Well, as I'm turning the can, I'm looking for the alcohol percentage because I like
Mm,
to know how much, if it's really heavy, kind of light,
yeah.
what I'm getting into. And as I'm turning it, can't seem to find it, can't seem to find it, can't seem to find it. And then I'm looking by the government warning. Oh, right next to that, it says this beer is vegan. And then I like,
Wait. So
now,
do you think vegans think that yeast is vegan?
so that's where I'm like,
Because I'm a vegetarian, and I
but what part of is Rolling Rock vegan?
well, and at what cellular level do we get to animals? I guess is the real
But of course,
conversation.
I thought beer was vegan. Like, I didn't think there was animal products at all. And
I think Guinness has fish oil in it.
Okay, I
Yeah,
could see that.
that's the only thing that I know
But
of.
I mean, is Pabst Blue Ribbon? Is that a vegan beer?
All right, well,
It's like yeast and water.
I've got some interesting
You
facts. I
know.
worked for a farm who's going to remain unnamed, but Sanctuary was also in their name. Um, and one day I showed up because I like to show up early and make coffee for everybody else who's going to show up, being the new guy. And so I brought creamer one day, and they were like, "That's fucked," and I was like, "You're right. That's made from animal products. This is an all vegan farm. We're here to take care of animals. Like, I'm sorry." So the next week, I brought in sugar, and they were like, "Yo, dude, that's fucked. What are you doing?" And I was like, "What is going on with sugar?" And they were like, "I have no factual evidence to base this on," but they said, and I quote, "Sugar is bleached with bone meal." Don't know how that works,
Hmm.
but apparently I couldn't bring sugar in either. So I was like, "Well, you know, it's not an animal, a fucking bug, right? So I'm gonna bring in some honey. It's natural. Vegans love natural shit. They like all the shit that comes from like the dirt. No, nope. That was too far fucking away from veganism for them too. And so they were like, if you bring any kind of sugar, any kind
Veganism.
of creamer, any kind of this crazy ass bullshit, we're gonna fire you. So it turned out that I could bring coffee in, which is made by slaves, but I couldn't bring in any kind of like dairy or sugar products, which is understandable. Like I could bring in hemp milk, but it just doesn't
See,
hit
and
the right spot with coffee.
that's
You
where I
know what I
get
mean?
all confused about the vegan thing, and I'm like,
Yeah, and so well, I guess the point that I was making is like, so bees are that they apply to the level of vegan, right?
it's a
Now,
living thing.
yeah. Now, what are the what to what are the small? What's the smallest organism do you think that makes something vegan? Like algae, is that vegan?
But then you have to get in the debate of whether or not plants have, you know,
Which,
purpose in life.
yeah, that's why veganism is dumb.
And that's where I'm like confused. And then I'm like, I'm looking at this beer and I'm like, I mean, this beer is vegan? Now I'm just confused. Like,
Do you think do you think it's a
is it
selling
gluten
point?
free? Does it say gluten free on here somewhere too? Because if it's not gluten free, I mean, that's just like
Gluten free beer.
offensive to a vegan. I don't get it. And then there's like corporate funding on here, and I'm like, wait,
Wait,
okay, so like vegans are against especially this whole like big systematic corporate like producing food for the masses
yeah.
and taking advantage of animals and all that type of stuff. But then you go into like at the bottom, it's got that little ball. It says BALL. I don't. It's like a main
Wait,
logo
what the
on
fuck? Hold
things.
on.
Ball. Like that's like a huge major advertising
Yeah, what the fuck does that
thing or
even mean?
something. And then just a couple other labels, and I'm like, did you guys? Oh, let's see. Wait. Breweries Associated, Independent Craft, Employee Owned Certified. Um, Tweet, Facebook, Instagram. Is there a hashtag on here? I
Should
mean,
we tweet them?
government warning. According to the Surgeon General, women should
Yeah,
not.
nobody cares about that.
Yeah, that's all standard.
That's just propaganda, Sean. You can drink when you're pregnant. It's no problem. These statements are not brought to you by a licensed
Okay.
physician.
So okay. Vegans are all about health, right?
Well, they pretend to be. Well, yeah.
But
Well, for
they're
the sake of your argument, yes, they
yes,
are.
okay. Their health is their main concern. Like we should be eating healthy.
Yeah.
Uh, Number two on the government warning: consumption of alcoholic beverages impairs your ability to drive a car or operate machinery,
Mm-hmm.
comma, and may cause health problems.
Shit.
So what's it matter if the beer is vegan? It causes health problems. It's unhealthy.
Bro, it literally doesn't matter because like you can eat miles of kale. I don't know why we're measuring it in miles, but you can eat miles of kale, and it's not gonna stop you from getting drunk.
So what? Ooh, can you make beer out of kale? Could you
I
ferment?
imagine it's harder
Could you
because
ferment
because
kale?
Well,
That sounds like a vegan beer
you can
right there,
technically
or alcoholic
can you tell that
beverage.
I've been drinking and smoking weed? Anyway, you can technically make beer out of pretty much anything. You just have to add the right amount of sugar if it doesn't contain it naturally with the right
Hmm.
amount of yeast. So you can make like potatoes. They don't have sugars, but they've got starches. So you don't really have to do much to them to turn them into liquor. But if you wanted to make kale beer, I don't know why you would. That sounds fucking disgusting. But I don't imagine they've got a whole lot of starches and
I mean,
sugars.
people grass wheat or juice wheatgrass
Yeah,
and take shots of that. So, well, I
you'd
mean,
have to add a shitload of sugar and then a shitload of liquor, and then it
you
wouldn't.
can't.
I don't think it, or not liquor,
Sugar's
rather
not vegan.
yeast. Well, yeah, sugar's not vegan, so like I guess if you're
Yeah,
a vegan, you'd be fucked if you wanted to eat anything or rather get drunk. God damn, I'm getting drunk myself.
or eat anything. I think you're just.
I mean, yeah, basically,
And then
because
what?
like bees pollinate the flowers that spread your kale seeds around, bud.
Hmm,
You ever thought about that, Sean?
I mean,
No, because you only think about yourself.
no, I mean they're necessary for a lot of things.
No, I don't.
Is a vegan allowed to eat an apple?
No, it's the ovary of a tree.
Whoa.
Yeah, they didn't think about that, did they? Yeah, Peter just went off the fucking rails, and they were
Oh
like,
no.
you know what?
Oh no, you just hit me with the stinger right there.
It's fine to eat the eggs of plants because they're not getting shit out of chickens who we anthropomorphize into having the same feelings that we do
Oh,
because we're fucking
they
vegans.
don't eat eggs because they're the reproductive thing of animals. But yeah, what about plant? That's yeah. What about seeds? Anything with seeds?
Yeah,
Are you allowed to eat it?
you're
Can you eat an orange if you're vegan? It's got seeds in it. You're just killing more oranges that could have been reproduced.
and I'm just saying, I'm a vegetarian, and being a vegetarian doesn't make a whole lot of sense other than to me. And so being a vegan and being like, I can't eat anything that's got that has emotions or can reproduce or anything like that. It's like, all right, so drink the air. Drink the air. Like that's your option. Because you're either eating tree dick, you're
So
eating the fucking ovaries,
what do you
or the
think the
period
statistic
of
is
a.
of vegans that were raised when they were a child on breast milk versus not?
I think
Because you
that
know what I mean? Like, you don't drink dairy, you don't drink milk, but you were raised on mama's tit.
I think it would be negligible. Because like you like if you were born to be it, if you were born and raised in a family that only ate meat, I'm sure you'd be like, oh wait, this leaf kind of tastes good at like 23 or whatever. Depends upon your the level at which you were trying
Hmm.
to explore. Um, however, if I,
I'm just saying, a little controversy in the system there where it's like, yo, your mentality majority comes from people raised on mother's milk, but you don't believe in dairy. You won't drink cow's milk, you won't, but you love mama's milk.
I still think it's negligible. It's like I don't think there's a statistic that you can glean from that that gives you an indication. It's like vegans are caused by people not breastfeeding their children, Sean. Sean, I'll tell you, just like a CNN fucking interview, and you can argue all you want to, but I promise it's not because of the breast milk that they're vegan.
I'm just trying to do like a Mythbusters and be like, no, more people raised on breast milk think they should, like, more vegans were raised on breast milk, which proves that it comes from a
Well, write down your hypothesis.
where it's like, yo,
Vegan
if
out
it wasn't for milk,
draw
you
the
wouldn't even have
parameters
this thought in your head.
for your experiment. Run your experiment analyze your results like a proper scientist
Yeah, I need to
and
talk
see
to
what you come
vegans
up with.
and then find out who their parents are. I
Don't
know.
say that. Don't say that. You got
I gotta be like, who's your parents?
to
And then I have to ask them.
the vegans. To the vegans.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting. Anyway, here's a short little commercial break.
One more time and I will do all that you think I'll do. Why won't you be with me tonight? I know that you can go through with what you want. You choose to be and what you want to be. One time to change the colors we display. You got to hold the line. You got to burn it right. Why don't you run from a flame that shines? I'm gonna hold it high. You're going to burn it right. One more time and I will do all that you think I'll do. Why won't you be with me tonight? Bring yourselves to me. One fight, we'll see who the alpha is. Now you both touch this before we go. I'll have you know I've seen the face of light. You're going to burn out. One thing I've done to say you got this, so don't be late. Look at the things displayed. You won't regret this. All that you become bring you to what's to come. Stay true, you have to feel you won't regret this. One time to change colors we display. You got to hold the light. You got to burn it right. Why don't you run from a flame that shines? I'm gonna hold it high. You're going to burn out. Right. You're going to burn out. Right.
Welcome back to Black Sheep and Bad Apples. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm smoking another joint. So things are about to get real weird. Speaking of weird, Shawn, weird. This whole podcasting thing has been kind of weird, right?
Totally weird.
It's like a very interesting transition. In case you guys don't know us or aren't following along, we started off being Merit Parcel. Lauren O'Brien, decided that I wanted to do a podcast, and I started it off because I wanted to do something that I wasn't good at and to get better at something. And so it's essentially called failing upwards. And having said that, I've been getting a lot of
Is that like
discussions.
tripping upstairs?
Exactly. Like you're still getting up the stairs. It's just you're kind of finding your footing. And so we've been kind of finding our footing here at Black Sheep and Bad Apples. And the thing that I've been hearing a lot about is just a bunch of our friends, people who genuinely listen, which I'm surprised anybody listens. And they've been kind of talking about how we talk over each other a lot. And we're too drunk and we're too old, and this and that and the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got fair points. I'm not trying to knock on them. But then last week we did a podcast, and after the podcast, we got done at something like 11 o'clock, and from like 11 till 2 o'clock, you guys berated the shit out of me. No, berated's the wrong term for it. No, you guys definitely we opened up the discussion as to how we can improve the podcast, and it was fascinating for me, um, because there's a part of you that gets defensive when you're hearing criticism, right? And that part of you wants to like shut down and to defend yourself and to kind of be like, no, you're wrong, and I'll tell you why. But against my better judgment of doing that, I guess against my worst judgment, I sat there and I listened to you guys for as long as I could. I believe I interjected a few times. And I remember vividly at one point you Shawn, were like, hold on, guys. Loren, you haven't said anything for like 2 hours. What is going on? I was just like, I'm trying to take in everything. And so with our new, we've got a whiteboard here in the studio now. We've got some big ideas for change. What do you think of what are some of the ideas that you thought of that night, and how do you think we can improve this? What we're working on?
I feel like it's like any small town arts groups trying to DIY rise up on their own. It takes just time and involvement
Yeah.
of doing it and figuring it out. And, finding some advice here and there. But a lot of it's just getting together with a bunch of random fucks
Yeah.
and figuring out how you can even work together and make a goal, plan it out, do all these things. It's almost like an alternative school, I feel like, for artists. In
It really
situations
is.
like we have like this, where they're like, yeah, you guys don't quite run with the regular program, but you can accomplish the same goals. And, so we figure it out a little bit differently around here,
Yeah.
which is kind of, I feel, the fourth corner way,
It really is, because not to drag you through the muck too much, but that's kind of how we started as a band, as Merit Parcel. I think we've talked about it before, but short story is that you had a couple of shows in line, and we were jamming, trying to form a new band, trying to figure out something. I think it was this 5 or 6 of us, and we were like, sure, we'll learn some Merit Parcel songs. And then we just kept learning Merit Parcel songs, and we kept writing for Merit Parcel, and then it became this whole like thing where it's like, I basically at this point, it's the momentum that I feel is kind of unstoppable. Like, I don't feel like
well, that's all it's
I feel
about,
so inspired that I don't have any other options than to continue.
Yeah, it's, kick a rock down a hill. It usually continues rolling till it stops.
Yeah.
So
And shit, it's fallen into the
hopefully,
it's one of those pumice rocks that floats. So it's gonna hit the water and just keep floating as far down as it goes.
So what happens when you hit rock bottom?
You'd never do. You never do. You just float out in the middle of the ocean. And I wonder what does happen to pumice when it gets out in the middle of the ocean. Which is actually kind of an interesting thing to think about, because that's where we are as a podcast.
In the middle of an ocean?
We're just a podcast that like somehow this little piece of pumice podcast that got knocked down a hill found itself into a river and is now being just fucking carried right out to sea, buddy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. How do you balance being
How do you think reception is out in the middle of the ocean? I've never been way, way out in the middle of the ocean. Do you think you still get like LTE out there?
like 5 bars?
At least 4, 3 to 5. 3 to 5, I'd say. 4G.
Well, I would say,
Do
in
you
my
think-
view, I know nothing about the circumstance, but I would say across the Pacific, probably not a whole lot. But across the Atlantic, probably a shitload.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. All the maps on the major cellular providers They always just show the United States, but they don't show like the water. And like, what about people going on cruises, crossing the Atlantic,
Well,
doing
I'm
all
sure.
these things? And it's like, is there towers out in the
No, bro. I'm sure cruise ships have their own like radio towers or cell phone like LTE towers, whatever it's called. I mean,
So for a podcast floating out to sea, do you think it's disadvantageous to be doing that because the reception might be not as
well, we started off.
good as we wanted?
We started off not floating out of a city. We started this podcast floating off of some random ass island out in the middle of the Pacific that nobody's ever heard of. And we just started fucking floating. And are we going to make some mistakes and get into bad weather? Yeah. Have we gotten into bad weather? Yeah. But we're a piece of pumice. We don't fucking sink, buddy. We don't fucking sink. These colors don't run. You know what we do? We just keep floating. And eventually we're going to land on the shore.
Ye-
We're going to land on the shore of God's horizon. Of the promised land that was told to us by our forefathers. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
Did you just relate God and our forefathers in the same sentence?
Well, no, I compared this podcast to something biblical.
With the addition of our forefathers.
Yes.
So you're saying
Yeah.
they're on biblical status?
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of like. Like
You can
Jefferson.
believe it or not,
Jefferson.
but it's the truth.
Jefferson was like Jesus. Is that what you're saying? Like, or John, or another Bible name?
You know,
Matthew.
he hath no name.
They did write similar.
Yeah, the word. We're making it short, buddy. That's all I'm saying. Is that we may have been lost at sea for a little bit. We may have been blind, but now we'll see.
Trivia of the day. How many of our forefathers' names are biblical names? If you know the answer, send it to Black Sheep and Bad Apples, P.O. Box 364, Hayfork, California.
We gotta define the parameters a little bit more though, because like your forefathers and my forefathers, or our listeners' forefathers.
The country's forefathers.
The country's forefathers.
Yeah.
That seems like a really broad thing.
No, like, okay,
Up until what year?
Let
or
me
how many
no.
generations
Okay,
back?
let me define it.
Yeah.
Our forefathers of this nation, the people who signed the Declaration of Independence.
How many of them had biblical names?
Yeah.
All right, you can send your answer to
P.O. Box 364, Hayfork, California 96041.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. Fuck those Christmas Santas. Do you see them out in the lawn? Out in people's lawns? They're just like little pieces of like polyester that are held up.
Okay, so here's a question.
No.
Did you ever go pumpkin smashing on Halloween?
Actually, no.
No,
That's
never.
one misdemeanor I never committed.
Never?
No.
We used to steal pumpkins on Halloween, and we'd throw them off the tops of rooftops. We just drive around and find a good pumpkin and smash it in multiple different ways. But with that in mind, if you smash pumpkins on Halloween, what do you do on Christmas? What would that similar tradition be? And I think when we were younger, we found those things in the front yard. If they were plastic, we would steal them and hit them with our car. Or if they were inflatable, we would stab a hole in them, because then they would have an air leak, and over the course of the next couple hours, they would gradually
Deflate.
deflate and go down and not keep their original stance. which is pretty humorous when you see a pretty tall inflatable Santa that now looks like he was defeated.
Yeah. See, what I was thinking is like we could maybe, I mean, not you and I, but maybe we could go spray paint some Krampus signs on some, like maybe we could spray paint a snowman and make him look like an abominable snowman. Maybe we could take Santa, turn him into Krampus, something like that. Actually, you know what? Hold on, give me a second. Yeah, so honestly, just like my thoughts are painting any kind of Christmas character on somebody's lawn. Like you can either spray paint it or do it however you want to, but painting them as like a Halloween character, like maybe turning a Santa into
You paint like a Hitler stash on a bunch of inflatable Christmas characters.
yeah.
You know what we used to do?
Wait, that might be anti-Semitic. Like people might get upset about that.
Yeah, they might. But vandalism's vandalism, and it's all about the artwork and how you're getting away with like what you're trying to portray.
If you paint a beautiful swastika, it'll be
Ooh,
okay.
no, so that's
Yeah, because like Hitler stash, funny. You can call it Charlie Chaplin. That's
yeah,
fine.
that's all I'm saying. It's
Not
like
swastikas.
it's to the imagination. You make Santa a Nazi, that. Well, fuck it. You make Santa a Nazi. That might be pretty funny if you told me that. But
well,
I want. That's not like the style. It's like smashing a pumpkin's one thing, but like
it's a funny thought, but an awful thing to do.
we ain't trying to like make sure we got swastikas all over town type of deal. One thing I did find really fun to do during Halloween or Christmas, it was kind of it's universal for this one, is if you have a friend that's a Jehovah Witness, they don't celebrate any holidays at all, which means their household will never be decorated. It will never have Christmas lights. It will never have carved out pumpkins on the porch.
Yeah.
It won't have any of that stuff. So if you go around town on a holiday or a season and steal a bunch of decorations and then redecorate a Jehovah's Witness's house, it's really hysterical the next day to watch the confusion on their face when they're like, "We don't even do this, but it looks like we're."
Do we take him down?
Like,
Do
you know, we
Oh shit! I gotta call the church.
Yeah,
I gotta let them know.
Oh,
I didn't do this.
oh, John, I saw you carve some pumpkins this year.
This is the Jehovah's Witnesses.
I swear
the
it wasn't
police.
me. It wasn't.
Jehovah's Witness police. I swear to God, I didn't. I know there's lights up at my house. I didn't do it. I have no idea how it happened.
Well, and there's a double backwards confusion on it because as Jehovah Witnesses,
Like,
they
"Shh,
don't
you're Jehovah's
celebrate
Witness
holidays.
arrested."
Well, as part of the religion, they don't celebrate holidays. So I only have to wonder what they think is going on with everybody else and why they're trying to force them to want them to celebrate like a holiday like Halloween. They're like, no, just celebrate it. Just do it. Just carve a fucking pumpkin and quit pissing us off. Like, so I can only imagine that they're just confused utterly to like some funny depth. That maybe that went too far.
No, it didn't. I just got a cough attack. No, what I find is the most fascinating about it is that like, did they take the lights down or did they leave them up?
Well, I think generally speaking, most of them take it down because they don't celebrate, and that's vandalism to them. So that's what's kind of like the funny gag is it's like technically you're decorating, but to a Jehovah it's vandalizing.
Well, if you stole all the lights and stuff like that,
and there's that.
yeah, you can be like throwing them away as the Jehovah's Witness who is now victimized, and the cops could show up and be like, "Boo! Where'd you get that Rudolph?
Where'd you get that snowman?
Where'd you get that Rudolph? Did you?
Yeah.
Because right across the street, your neighbor complained that she had her Rudolph stolen, and all of a sudden, you guys aren't such good Jehovah's Witnesses."
We got a
they're just
code
like, what?
3624, stolen Christmas items on a Jehovah's house.
Well, yeah, and then imagine being that Jehovah's Witness that is like, no, we were victimized. Like, like they put it up here. It's like, yeah, all right, put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. You've the right to remain silent.
Yeah,
Just
talk to
Miranda
him
rights.
downtown.
Yeah.
But I mean, for anybody in general,
Dude,
I guess.
especially if it was like a Hitler Rudolph.
Huh.
You know what I mean? Like every character that you put up on.
See, that's where it gets a little like, I don't know if you should
Sorry,
start like,
Charlie Chaplin.
yeah, I don't know if you should be Charlie Chaplin and the shit you stole to put on another person's house for religious purposes. Now, if you were to redecorate anybody else's house at random, I actually think that should be a trend. If we want to throw it out now, is like trend is what do we want to call it? Redecorate a house.
Well, are we
If you
doing full
find a
landscape?
house-
Are
if
we
you
doing
find
full
a house-
landscaping, or is it just
No,
the Christmas lights?
Well, but Christmas is easy because everybody decorates for Christmas.
So we'll call
but
it the
if you see a house that's not decorated, gather up.
the decoration block.
You get decorations from one place
Yeah.
and you put them on a place that has no decorations.
Yeah, it's a way of establishing territory.
Oh, pop-up decorate? No, not pop-up decorate a house. Ooh, mob decorate.
Oh no, it'd be like extreme decoration makeovers.
Yeah,
You know
well,
how they
you,
do the-
you just show up and you just decorate the shit out of
Yeah,
the
you know
house.
that,
Like,
you know how the Ty Pennington or whatever his name is does the extreme home makeovers.
we got a
and he
shuttle
just makes
bus.
it
We
over
could
the
pull it
house.
in front of the house and be like, "Now look at your
Look
house,"
at
and we pull the
your
bus away.
house.
And it's like working, and they're like, "My power bill's gonna be
Right.
so expensive."
What the fuck? I'm an atheist. You've got grow lights in my front yard? Yeah, that's all we could find.
I don't believe in
It's
Jesus and
Hayfork.
the manor and all that stuff.
In the manor, the manger.
The major.
I don't believe in Jesus in the manor. In the manure? Miss,
No,
what
the
are you
manor,
talking about?
and the whole thing, and the
in
whole.
the manor. No, yeah, that would be. That'd be, well, and we could premise it as just going up to people's houses and like big check be like $0 on it, but big check be like extreme Christian makeover or whatever we want to label it as. And they're like cool, and it's like get the fuck out of your house, and they leave, and we ransack the shit. No, I'm just kidding. No, but then you put the lights up, and they're like, dude, we're atheists. What? I thought you were gonna rebuild our house.
See, it's all about the sneak decorate. They gotta have no idea. It's almost like a candid camera thing. We're like, and boom, you just got decorated. And they're
Oh, so
like,
it's gotta
oh
be-
shit, because you like at the
Oh,
very end you ring the doorbell and they're like, hey, I just want to compliment you on your really brilliant decorations on your house. You guys did a really good job. And they're like, what are you talking about? And they're like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Rudolph on the roof, the whole manger out front, and they're like, we're Jehovah's, we do not decorate. And they come out and they're just baffled and they're like, okay, I
We're
just
like,
wanted to let
you've
you know
been home maked over.
you've been decorated.
Yeah. So do you remember that TV show that I think it was Discovery did, but there was a TV show and it was about burglars, and essentially it was like these two guys that were like ex-cons, and they would go up to the camera and like sit there with their arms crossed, and they were like, we're gonna show you how to break into houses. And so they'd case a joint, and they'd notice that the person would like leave like from 9 to 5 or what the fuck ever, and they'd be like, now check it out, the easiest tip on how to break into this house is see how they store their ladders on the outside of their garage. And of course it had the dramatic like dun 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 dun, like the tense music.
think I did
And then they
see
take
this,
the ladder
yes.
and like take it up to the roof and like climb up to the roof and like break into shit and just like steal everybody's shit. Like we should make a TV show like that, but about the home makeover thing with the Christmas lights, where it's like, you see how these people, like it's like crickets in the background, and it's like you and me, Shawn, in like a van, and it's like real dark, and like the light is like night vision, and it's like, all right, so we're here at this place, and we notice that there's no lights up, and it's Christmas Eve, right? it's Christmas Eve. So what we're gonna do? Shh, Shawn, be quiet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sneak over and we're gonna set up Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Santa. We're gonna put a Christmas tree in the front lawn. We're gonna tack our house full of lights, and then it's just us essentially doing the same thing as the burglar show, but instead of burglarizing the house, we're just burglarizing electricity. We're like, yeah, that's like 15,000 watts worth of lights, or however lights are measured. And
Do you think? Oh, maybe we could make a series that's like, can you rob a bank? And we just go to like a bunch of banks, and we're like, yo, we're gonna film a show. Like, allow us for a night to try and break into your bank. And and once the cops get called, they're like, oh shit, we gotcha, because we knew you were gonna try. And
we're like, joke's on you.
But
This is completely
if we get all the
legal.
way in, and we're like, do, like, we gotta obviously give up the money because they know it's us and we just robbed the bank. So obviously, like,
Cops are like, oh, you guys.
yeah, got us, but like, you can't, like, we're already on, like, yo, we're gonna try and rob your bank this day.
We just unroll a scroll and it says, like, permission to rob this bank from midnight to 2 in the morning on April 24th,
And you make a contract that's like,
2021.
yo, I'm gonna break into your bank, so be on call. You're gonna hear an alarm trip, or you're not. But at some point or another throughout the night, there's gonna be things, but it's like, so they know, and it's all legal or whatever and stuff. And the bank's like, they can use it for propaganda and be like, we're so secure. Look, we tried.
Or
and-
what it is just all the money in the vault is all the money that we possess. So they're like, yeah, they've got the keys. They pretty much own the bank. So like they came in and did a heist, but they're just stealing their own money. Like, joke's on them. They own the bank. Like, blah, blah, blah.
So yeah, we set it up so there's like a
loophole.
God forbid we get in all. There's just like a cash.
God
box.
forbid our heist is shitty.
No, but I mean it works out. Like, but it's really just a cash box we gotta get to. It's not about like robbing all the safe deposit boxes and getting their personal shit. It's like within the vault there is one box just in the middle of the vault or something, and then there's like some other shit within the bank that's like checkpoints. You know what I mean? See how far you can get.
Oh, I see.
And that means, but we get the opportunity to try and break
So
into
it's
the
gonna be
bank.
like a big city bank where it's like several
No,
stories.
also, but that's the whole part of the series. It's it's
shit.
small town banks, big town banks. It's really big, like
We
bank.
probably should have mentioned
Or it's
this
just
on
like
the
your little
podcast.
fucking small town bank. And that we talk to them, we're like, yo, it's
We're the vault inspectors coming to check the seals of your vault
No,
at
we're gonna
midnight
do-
tomorrow.
we're gonna do break the bank, and that's the name of the series. Break the bank, and we see if we can get away with it in a small town or a big town. But we go to the bank and we let them know, and we're like, yo, we're gonna film a series, and we're gonna try and rob your bank. With these, you put these things in the bank, and then you see how far we can get in your bank before
Cops
we get
catch
caught.
us, and they're like, dude, what the shit? And we're like, what? And they're like, you guys cut holes in the windows when they left the bank doors open for you at 5 o'clock because they didn't leave the bank and lock it up till 6. And you guys still, like, climbed through the windows. There's security camera everywhere. Like, what?
So this
We
would be the
made it
fun part is you
easy.
go to the police, like the law enforcement office, whatever that is, police or sheriff or whatever, and you're like, yo, film, we're gonna do this. And then you're like, but it's gonna happen one day within this week.
And you won't know which day.
Don't tell the bank what day it is, but they just need to have these items set in these certain spots for this week. And
Someone
they have
needs
no
to
idea.
forget
So
to
we
lock the bank
so
door.
like the episode starts where we got like the camera on the glasses, and we walk in, and we like the video starts with us like, oh, I just need to make a deposit. I just like to start a new account. I just like to doodly do.
And then like as we're like looking around the room, it like stops and looks at the security guard and like does like the digital thing, like face mapping, where it's like Frank Arnold, the security guard for 10 years, age 37,
and then
6 foot.
it
Yeah.
cuts to like the side, and I realize that the security guard takes a lunch break every 2 hours for a half an hour, and there's nobody on shift between these hours. Do do do.
Doo-doo-doo-doo. Hey, Sean, you got the hickeys?
I think I do.
You got the hiccups.
Yep.
You silly little bitch. No, it's that's funny to think about.
So I got to bring up a random side topic besides bank robbing and how to plot it out on national TV. Is tonight is the
Okay.
Hmong New Year's.
Oh,
Well,
right.
they're celebrating it for. Actually, I heard.
Shit, we gotta
it's
get going.
It's a
Actually,
good month and stuff, but
Yeah.
tonight is a celebration in our town of the Hmong New Year.
Oh.
And
and it's 9/11 right now. By the way, the time is 9/11.
huh.
Yeah.
And
Which
do I
means-
gotta say they celebrate?
The-
Little shout out plug, I guess, to the Hmong
Oh,
in the Hayfork
They go
community
hard.
or Trinity County or I guess just in the United States everywhere. Plug to the Hmong.
plug to the Hmong community. They're killing it. I
They're
don't-
and goddamn, do they know how to wear a suit and dress up and tie? So
Thank you for bringing it up, because oh my god, there is so many goddamn beautiful and fucking handsome, like swanky ass fucking people over there. Holy shit!
So we stopped by the celebration at the fairgrounds before
Yeah.
we started the podcast, and I gotta express the traditional outfits that they were wearing for the night and the amount of silver that was. So they have all these garments on,
Yeah.
and then they all kind of
didn't
have little jinglies, little what do you call them? The
I don't know.
little stuff all the way around. A lot of them had coins that were dangling around their hip like a belt type of deal.
Yeah, yeah.
With a bunch of around their torso and stuff
Excuse me.
of a bunch of these coins and a bunch of hanging off, and then off their head with whatever headdress or head, I don't know what you call it, whatever the like kind of hat
We'll
garment
just call
they
it a
were wearing.
traditional head.
They were all
dress.
wearing, these silver-looking pieces, and then huge necklaces with these.
Oh, yeah.
They were very elaborate and stuff, but a lot of kind of that gypsy style with a frill, but like instead of bells or like something that jingles like that, this was all just some metal. And I realized when I was talking to him that is all pure. That's all silver. All of it's silver.
Damn.
Those dresses aren't like
Like
fabricated
the coins are silver.
yeah, all the coins are real
Jesus
silver
Christ.
coins. All the jingly stuff off their head garments are silver. Their necklaces are silver. It's not a fabricated,
It's not a ruse.
yeah, it's not a just
the
some
wrong term for
decoration
that.
you would,
Yeah.
some fake costume thing you would buy, or a necklace that was just like, cool, this is our tradition. No. They wear silver to a degree that it's heavy
God
on their
damn.
body. And talking to Yer tonight,
Our friend Yer, she's
Yeah,
that's her.
shout out
I
to-
believe it's her nickname.
shout out to
actual-
Yer if
Yeah,
you
shout out to Yer.
catch this.
Yeah.
She explained to me tonight that she was like, I want to almost take this off because it's so heavy.
Oh, shit.
Because all the silver. And I was like, wait, that's all silver? And she was like, yeah, all of it is silver. And she was decorated all over with like a large amount of silver. And I
God
was like,
damn.
oh, wow. I didn't take that into consideration. I thought that was just some, shiny garment thing that made a little sound and stuff. And it was like, no, this is a large amount of, I don't even know how many ounces of silver she was wearing.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe
on
every
her
coin is like
person,
an eighth of an ounce, but there's like 180 or some shit.
Well, it depends on the coin because
Yeah.
they sell ounce coins. And an ounce coin is like
Holy
a dollar,
shit.
like a dollar coin in America and stuff. And these look like quarters, so maybe it was a quarter ounce or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. But I'm like, so for every 4 coins, there's an ounce. and there
God
was
damn.
a lot of coins, just the coins on her dress, and I was impressed by that. I was like, "Oh damn, you got some ounces hanging
So,
off you right now."
did you notice the food they had there?
A little bit, yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't notice it too much, but it apparently was lit as shit. I got my buddy Steve actually looking at me from across the studio, just like nodding his head, like, oh man, it was fucking lit. Whole prawns. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, and then as soon as I walked in, somebody tried to hand me beer. And I was like, all right, so fucking cool. And
Oh, yeah,
it's like they go hard.
they
Did
go.
you see how many 30 packs of beer were being brought to each
They
table?
don't celebrate too often throughout the year, but when they do, they go hardcore.
I literally not exaggerating at all. Saw at least 30 packs being like either sitting there or being carried out to different tables. And there was probably, I don't know,
Oh, they have people designated
70
to
tables.
delivering 30 packs to people that need a beer.
There was a guy that came in with a dolly with like 6 of them on the dolly and was just fucking walking around dropping it to other people. There's 15 kegs. Jesus Christ, my I'm
Oh, not to
news
mention,
is getting in from
they,
the studio. Yeah, a
not
special report from Steve is that
not to
apparently the
mention the bottles
Jesus
of
Christ,
Hennessy
15.
and
Oh yeah,
all the
and yeah, it's like Johnny Walker Blue
Johnny
Label or
Walker
something
Blue
like that.
Label that they just oh, it's a good party. You know, it's
On
one of those special opportunities once a year, and and shout out to them for working hard all year long and doing all their thing and appreciating a good celebration and really putting it down in their the tradition. They do a traditional ceremony throughout the day and show their culture quite a bit too and stuff. And then what I really liked is all the people. You know, I do denote this in an American culture. We usually give a shout out, if that makes sense, to anybody that's contributed to almost like PBS and viewers like you. This
yeah, yeah,
episode was, donated by, and they name off
yeah,
two corporations, and then they're like, and viewers like you is like a shout out.
yeah.
Everybody's like, shout out to
It,
so and so and so and so and so and so. What they do is they go, no, here's your shout out, and they go, everybody that can, if you could, and they bring them all up onto the floor, and they put them in a big, huge line or a circle, and they go around with a flower, and personally, like who
the
I don't
head dude,
who the head
head
dude, that
person, head
whoever
chick.
give handshakes, they give them a rose flower, a thing. And they take the time to acknowledge all their sponsors, if you will, and stuff,
Hmm.
and not just a shout out. It's a like, hey, thank you for taking the time to make sure that our community and culture can continue doing these things and working hard all year, and we can put on something big like this, and not just like, oh, we party once a month all year. No, we wait all year to party hard like this. And
Well, and what I find the most fascinating about it is that it's December 21st tonight,
the
which is
solstice.
yeah the solstice, and so like their new year happens on the literal New Year, like
Mm.
the time where all the seasons change, and it's not according to the Gregorian calendar. Um, and so it's something that like me, who's I don't personally have a single belief personally, but I do like the idea of like the pagan belief of the solstice and the equinox and celebrating on these days.
It's also the Yule tidings tonight.
The Yule tidings, indeed. And so I really like the fact that all these things coincide because it doesn't feel like a homogenization of culture where it's like we're gonna blend yours with ours. More so, it feels like, hey, we have the same culture. Or not the same culture. We've got the same celebration on the same day for basically more or less the same reason. So let's get together and share in this. And
Mm.
that's one thing that I really like about the Hmong community that I've noticed is there's such a community. there's a feeling of like just immediately being like embraced fully into being a part of the universal people. There's no no one single group. There's only the community that's immediately around you, and you get that feeling a lot when you, I mean, just get to know Hmong people. I mean, Chua personally, I've been able to talk as much shit as I can to a single human being, and she's been just throwing it back at me as much as she can. And still, every day we give each other hugs that we see each other, and again, it feels like community. So I really like being able to get to know that side of the Hmong world.
So
And
with that,
you, are you?
are we?
Are we?
I think
is
we
it-
are.
Steve,
I think community and
shut up, Steve.
arts and roundabout how we all get together and achieve is
All right, should we like freestyle or do something weird at the end of it?
weird.
Steve, give us something weird to talk about. Like 2 minutes.
Talk about. I'm not good at this shit. Like when you have to do something like that, and it's just like my mind goes
Weird.
so.
Let's talk shit about Steve for the last
Yeah,
little
do
bit.
that.
All right, so it's been a really good episode until Steve fucked it up. Honestly, Steve, I don't know why we keep you on our payroll.
So I get paid the big bucks.
Yeah. The big bucks only go out to a certain amount of people, and it really does spark my curiosity of how you denote that within this podcast. I mean, the amount of royalty money that we're making off of the views from this on YouTube has really been kind of blowing my mind about how you break that down versus expenses and then breakdown of who's like obviously you get the most and I get the second most. But then after that I'm always like I feel like you got this fluctuating payroll based on your
Bro. You're gonna embarrass me on the show.
no, I'm just trying to understand how
Look, I know we make
economics work
hundreds
in
of thousands
America
of dollars a
because
day, and I know that I make the most, and
I
I know
mean we
that
all
you make
get
the second
haircuts
most.
at Supercuts.
But bro, the
by
rest of
the
it is
specialist,
performance based. I pay my employees as good as they
An
perform.
agreed amount of money.
Why do you think it's only been you and me tonight?
I've just been curious why you
Everybody
have so
else has
many
been
lawyers
performing so
backing what you
badly.
say. That's all. You know, all the rest of us are just trying to get a paycheck and have a
Shawn,
good time. And then you got this like
You're-
staff of a legal attorney behind you. That's I'm nervous about how they look at me sometimes. To be honest, when I'm just trying to get my paycheck.
you
at
see the
end
way
of the week.
they're looking at you now?
It's just
Look
it's,
at them. Look at them. You
It's
see the
just-
way they're looking
It's
at you
weird when I go into the office Friday at the end of the day. I'm like, oh, payroll. And they're like, yeah, payroll here again. And I'm
It's
like,
not my
what do you
fault.
mean again? And then they're like, just have a good weekend.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why they act like that. One is because I actually resurrected them from the dead.
You have zombie. You have a
Yes.
zombie attorney.
Yeah, they're good at what they do. They're very clinical.
They
They
eat-
know how to go for the jugular. So that's what I
They
what I
eat
did.
their opposing party. Like you have no competition because our attorney eats everybody. Ooh.
And my second thing is you don't have any proof about anything of what you're speaking.
Yeah, and the lack of us writing contracts and what we're actually doing probably amends to that.
Yeah.
That
Well, and you also notice how Shawn, or rather, you notice how Ron and Sam aren't here tonight.
actually, yeah, I did notice that. Hold on.
All right, so we gotta
We're-
cut this podcast short real quick. Thank you guys for coming with us. This has been Black Sheep and Bad Apples. Thank you guys for being here with us.
Happy Hmong New Year.